get the story straight about suicide in the African American community. Thank you.
All right. I'd like to thank Victor for your important and captivating conversation. Hearing those words and hearing your experience is really important for all of us to understand, and it's important for us to know those things when we are working with the Black community and when we are encouraging the Black community to seek out therapy and that support. Thank you so much, Victor. Now, I would like to introduce our next speaker. And keep in mind, as we said before, there would not be a traditional Q&A at the end of this session. So if our next speaker, Christina, says anything that any of you would like to hear a bit more about, please feel free to email her or send her a message in the conference lobby. So next we have Christina Dupuch. Christina has over 40 years of public service in designing and implementing state and local government systems. She served as the statewide director of implementation for the North Carolina Division of Mental Health, Developmental Disabilities, and Substance Abuse Services, ensuring evidence-based practices while forecasting North Carolina's managed care system. Christina also serves as a liaison between DMHDD-SAS and North Carolina Medicaid, assisting in operationalizing new Medicaid policies. Her early work on class action lawsuits to deinstitutionalize dual diagnosed individuals laid the groundwork for including person-centered practices recovery for all individuals across all disabilities in North Carolina. In the local government sector, Christina served as the Chief Operations Officer, Chief Community Operations Officer for VIA Health, a local management entity, managed care organization in Western North Carolina. At VIA, she incorporated her extensive experience in organizational management and structures and assisted in the development of community collaboratives, coalitions, mergers, and acquisitions while assuring and implementing a person-centered practice within the managed care framework. Christina enjoys weaving heart-centered leadership practices into all aspects of organizations. I'd like to welcome Christina and her TED Talk with us today. I do hope you all enjoy.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Again, thank you, Alec, for introducing me. I really appreciate that, and I'm very excited to be here with everyone. Today, I get an opportunity for 15 minutes to talk about something that I am very, very passionate about. If you listen to a little bit of my history, and all of us have a great history, and our history is great because we're always learning. One of the things that I was really interested in from a very young age, I would hear people say, what does it mean, to be in your heart? Christina, be more in your heart, be more heart-like. I never could really understand what that really meant. So throughout my personal life and my spiritual life and my work life, across really all my life, I have always been interested in trying to answer the question, what does it mean to come from the heart or be in the heart? So throughout my career, I had many opportunities to be a supervisor, a manager, a director, a chief of something, some type of leader. And throughout my career, I had many experiences, a great education, the graduate school, the state systems and people that I worked for were all the time sending me to great leadership classes. I have probably over 300 books here at my house about leadership. I always have had an interest in what did it really mean to be a leader. And there were certain times in my life I would go to a class or get a certification in leadership, and I would kind of become that model. Also, as a human being, I was also very interested in who I was as a person. Who is Christina? What does she believe? What are her values? What is her mission in life? So I've done a lot of personal work. And so throughout my career, I looked around, probably like many of you do, probably all of us, you may be a leader today. I think we're always a leader in our life, a personal leader, always. And we all have some type of circle of influence. But through the early years of my career, and probably about halfway through, I was looking around at how other people were leading. And sometimes I was judgmental. Sometimes I really loved the style. But I had a really great conversation early in my career with someone who said to me, who do you want to be as a leader, Christina? What is your leadership style? And it really struck me. I can actually, as I say those words to you today, know that I kind of walked out of that person's office, I absolutely not knowing the answer to that. So today, the privilege I have to you is to talk to you about heart-centered leadership. And so I don't know if I'm going to say anything new to you, but what I'm really interested in trying to point out to you is, what are you practicing and who are you being anytime you step into the role or the interaction as being a leader? The mission of heart leadership is bringing the physical, mental, and emotional systems into balance and aligned with our heart's intuitive guidance. You know, by now, since the early 1990s, the term heart intelligence has really been validated. The actual heart has its own intelligence, just like our beautiful brain does. And heart-centered leadership is about aligning this beautiful brain, this unbelievable wisdom that we have up here in our beautiful heads, with our beautiful hearts, and really trying to align that. You know, many times when I first started talking about heart-centered leadership, or I would bring it up to a staff member or bring it up to my boss, it was very I was sort of seen as being Pollyanna. Oh, that's just Christina. She likes to talk about the heart. Oh, that's Christina. She doesn't like to do difficult things. Well, I am here today to tell you that being a heart-centered leadership absolutely supports me in every single decision I made as a leader. If I was presenting an award to someone's at award banquet, it helped me there. If I was making a multi-million-dollar decision, it helped me there. If I was laying off 169 people, it was helping me there. If I had to fire someone and walk them to the front door, it helped me there. It helped me in every single decision. So this piece of heart-centered leadership and this aspect of being our true self, you know, as I went and received all this information about leadership, I really begun to filter it through my heart. And when I say through my heart, what I'm really talking about, how did it really feel to me? I had the knowledge, I had the wisdom. People told me I was pretty good at leading, but then I would get in these difficult situations and I thought I was supposed to act some way, be somebody in a certain way, do like my previous boss did or did like my current boss did. And if I wasn't like really tough all the time or got angry or aggravated or really had a lot of negative emotions sometimes in my own environment through the years, I was not seen as sometimes as a really good leader, that I was too nice on people. Well, this isn't about being nice to me. Nice, I mean, it's about being nice, but it's about being very factual, very concerning, very connecting, having humility, really being authentic and genuine. This is not about fear, shame, power, and control. This is really about being who you really are. And heart-centered leadership, through what I have learned and what I really love to give to people and talk to people and help them to develop, is that really personal connection to you, to who you are. It's the wisdom and the courage. It is very, very, very effective. This brain and heart alignment, I believe, not only in the world we're living in now, which seems to be real complicated, it's probably always complicated, it'll probably continue to be complicated, is about keeping you balanced. One thing that I know about all of us is we are all dealing with stress. It's from COVID, if it's just from life, it's from work, it's from a situation. When I was asked to speak at this conference, and I was honored, of course, and I'm very grateful to be here. But when I realized it was about crisis residential services, and I dropped into some of the sessions yesterday and today, I thought, and I might be a little bit biased, what more of a place in the healthcare system during a crisis time for staff who are being triggered and probably having very difficult times in trying to manage their own life at this period of time with COVID and how the world is, and then helping this person who's probably not at the best time in their life, and what's going on with these two people. We should not dread those situations in our work life. There was a period of time in my life I had some dread about going to work or how I was doing things or how I was being understood. But I really had to I didn't want to live my life that way. I love my life. I love the career I chose. I love the things I do. But I wanted to be Christina 24/7, 365. And you may say, well, how do you do that? I want to be the same person you see me today on this TED Talk. If you saw me at the grocery store tomorrow afternoon, if you saw me walking around my yard, or if you saw me in a really crisis situation, if I was at one of these facilities or in the ED with somebody, or in a joyful moment, that what I hope that you would see from me, and I think one of the greatest compliments people have ever given me, and I hope you have received it also, is that I'm pretty consistent. I'm not working to be consistent. I'm letting my consistency unfold. And being a heart-centered leader is really about being that human being, one human being to another. Yes, I'm the boss. I have to make critical decisions. I'm a leader. I'm responsible. Trust me. I'm sure if you're a leader in the world today, you understand all the perimeters that you're having to work on. I wanted to learn how to handle that in a way that I could come home and still be happy. And happy's it's got a lot of energy around it. Some people like the word happy, some people don't. So don't get attached to that. I'm more into joyful. Did I like who I was today? I have this great story, this great mentor. It'll take too much time to tell all the details, but I was especially a teacher early in my life. There was a principal named James Johnson, and James Johnson talks to me about, he'd come to my classroom every day. I was being supervised, and he would ask me how I was doing today. And I would talk about the kids. I would talk about the crisis. These were complicated kids. At that point in time, they were in institutions. I was in an institutional environment. And there was pretty much a medical crisis or a behavioral crisis every single day of great severity around these kids. And what James, this principal, did is he came in and we sat on these little chairs like you do in kindergarten. That was the type of child or children I was working with. He would ask me every day, what are you getting out of today? And then I got really tired of the question. I got really tired of James coming to talk to me. And so one day, James was a real gentleman. He was walking to me. I had to take a bunch of stuff home to work on that night, my lessons plans for the next day. James walks me to my car. And he said, Christina, let me just ask you one more question. What did you get out of today? Well, at this given moment, if we had more time together, I would tell you about my very inappropriate, ill-mannered response to James as I looked up at him, who was a very tall African-American man, way big, very large man, very tall man, and I kind of screamed at him and told him I didn't know the answer to the question. And I got in my car, drove home. I thought I'd lost my job. I'd get fired. The next day, James comes to my office and he said, Christina, hey, Christina, how you doing? Just like he always does every day. And I couldn't even look at him. I was so ashamed, and I just couldn't believe what I had done. To make a long story short, we sat in that little classroom from 2:30 in the afternoon to about 7 or 8 o'clock at night, and I finally understood what it means. What did you get out of today? And what I need to get out of today is what is best for me and for my life and for the people I love and the people that love me. And I would say that leading a heart-centered life and being a heart-centered leader is absolutely something that we need to really invest in. Many of the things I'm talking about today are very common in leadership books. Maybe it's your lifestyle. Maybe you are already a master of authenticity and genuineness and connectedness. Heart-centered leadership, I want to be very honest about this, has a feeling. That if you and I are working together, there is a feeling. Sometimes that feeling's good. Sometimes that feeling is a discomfort. Sometimes that feeling is feeling guilty. It's never about shame. It's never about humiliating someone. It's about being honest. We have a tremendous amount of research in the world today, over 400 established articles that talk about the heart has an intelligence. The heart has a huge intelligence. It senses things, it learns things, and it remembers things. And do you know, if I take 5 seconds and just sort of slow down, take a deep breath, really a very shallow breath, I just want to just focus right here on my chest, easy, for about 5 seconds, and take a couple of deep breaths in and out, that I will change my heart rhythm, which will send a very different signal to my brain, and that brain and that emotion and possibly the behavior that I would have done if I had not done that will absolutely change. It is absolutely unbelievable, the simplicity of working from the heart. But you do have to choose it. You know, our work world, being a leader, we're all about strategy, and sometimes our bosses like for us to win things, and we need to be competitive. And all that is just part of nature, sort of the nature of the work that we do. But wouldn't it be great to be able to work in the environment we all work in, and to be able to connect with another staff member? And I think about the individuals that you serve in all these crisis facilities. Here's the deal. Until somebody proves me wrong, and I hope if you can prove me wrong, you will reach out to me and get up with me. Do you believe that everyone has a heart? Do you really believe that? Now, heart-centered leadership pushes that thought and pushes that question ultimately to say, beyond what you see, what's made you mad, aggravated, you don't know what to do, you're scared, you're exhausted, you're overwhelmed, that still underneath all that this person has a heart. And, in this talk, I guess if I had any reservation about today, is that somebody would again come back and say, well, all that's great, but how does that really work in the real world? Well, I'm a product of the real world. And I can tell you, and this is not about ego and that I'm somebody special. There is nothing that I have said that is not part of who you are. And I'm going to go ahead and believe that it's part of your belief system and your value system and a mission for who you are. What better system than the crisis system to develop and implement a heart-centered leadership approach? The individuals you serve will absolutely benefit. The people that who work for you or you work for them, wouldn't it be wonderful to put a heart right in the middle of that and still make all the tough decisions and still learn how to balance all those emotions, and that people don't leave work exhausted? But I will tell you, heart-centered leadership is a very personal journey. It's a gift for others, for everyone that I touch in my life, but it is the work that you have to do personally. So I really encourage you to think about who you are. I know it's a very common question. This isn't about some woo-woo new age thing. This is concrete. If any of you are familiar with Heart Math out in Boulder Creek, California, they've been around since the early 90s. They have done a tremendous amount of research on heart intelligence. Probably some of you might, if you know of their work or you just know a lot about heart intelligence, now it's been proven over and over again. We have an energy field around our body. The energy field from our body is 8 feet. 360 degrees around our body. And that energy, that vibration that we don't really see, but a lot of times, you ever walked into somebody's office or somebody's home or walked up to somebody and thought, oh, they don't feel too good today, and you want to turn around and go away. But I would say that you are in that energy field, and that energy field is vibrating. And in the emotions, who you are, how you feel, out and all that. And we feel that from each other. Now, maybe being 6 feet apart today, we're not feeling that maybe as much as we used to, but I'm sure all of us have people that we're close to. So what I'd really like to encourage you to do today is choose to be in your heart. And being in your heart is about being grateful for who you are, for what you know and you don't know. To have real conversations with people. Just a couple of last points. A lot of the research says today that any of us who are coming into the workforce and many of the consumers are the individuals that we are serving, that we are lacking in heart intelligence, social intelligence, and emotional intelligence. And I'm sure all of you are very familiar with these terms. We have to really understand that how we expect everyone to act and for everyone to know how to be may not be the case. About 20 years ago, I was working with the state of North Carolina, and I had a large group of staff under me. And I was very frustrated with the staff. I couldn't, to be honest with you, in my little head, very judgmentally, very privately, I really thought a lot of them weren't very smart. What's wrong with these people? And then thank goodness I had a really great mentor in my life who said, you're expecting people to have skills that they may or may not receive from when their home environment or whoever raised them or school or society at large. So we're going to teach people social, emotional, and heart intelligence at work. And I want to just make a couple of points. I have a boundary. I'm not trying to share my whole personal life. I absolutely can have all these conversations just like you can with people. Sometimes you're the first person who's ever told somebody no. You're the first person who's ever maybe accepted somebody's guilt and shame. You've not made them feel that they're a failure. You might be that first person in someone's life. So I encourage you to be open to this thing called heart-centered leadership, or whatever your language is. I would love to have a conversation with you. I would love to talk to you more about it. Don't even think about it as work. Think about it as a very personal, deep journey with who you are and who you are as a leader. Heart-centered leadership shifts consciousness. And I can talk to you about that more on another day. But this heart and mind alignment, I cannot find another better time in my lifetime that is where is more needed than right now. I really appreciate all the work that all of you do, that you are really great at dealing with the crisis that you deal with, and that you please share your heart with someone. Get to know what that means. Have a boundary. Be healthy. Be human. connect on the human level, and feel that feeling between two human beings, and you will be amazed at how people can change, evolve, unfold, and be their best and highest good. Thank you so much for the invitation, and I am most grateful for being with you today. If you'd like more information, please contact me. Thank you.